Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about one of the topics from quantum mechanics. See, there were many concepts and experiments that were conducted in the history, and most of them could not be explained in classical physics. So many of the scientists had to go deep into quantum mechanics. One such very famous effect that was discovered was the Compton effect. This was discovered in the year 1923 by A.H. Compton. So Compton effect is a very remarkable effect that had taken place. It's basically scattering of a high frequency photon with a loosely bounded, nearly a free electron. We have a high frequency photon, it can be anything such as an X-ray. It collides with the electron, shares a part of its energy, and the scattered photon moves further with a reduced energy and a change in the wavelength. According to classical physics, or you can say in terms of the Thomson scattering or the coherent scattering, there hasn't to be any change in the wavelength. But according to Compton scattering or incoherent scattering, there takes a place in change of the wavelength. So why does this take place? Here is where Compton told us with the derivation. So moving on to the derivation. So as I told you all, there is an incident photon, there is an electron which is at rest, and there is a scattering of the photon and the electron. First, what happens is a high frequency photon such as an X-ray is sent, it collides with the electron, and the photon scatters and the electron also scatters and rebounces back. Here we consider the photon to have an energy E and linear momentum P. Electron is at rest, so it will have an energy of E is equal to mc square. The photon is scattered by a phase difference of phi, and the electron is scattered by a phase difference of theta. The photon has an energy of E dash, momentum P dash, and electron has energy EE and momentum PE. Now, moving on, what we see from the diagram is we can write the energy as h nu or hc by lambda and the linear momentum as E by c. So first in the derivation, we apply the law of conservation of energy. During applying this law, we have to say that the E initial is equal to E final. So how we apply is the energy of the photon plus the energy of the electron, that is mc square, is equal to the photon and the electron. Then we apply the law of momentum to both the directions, the x-axis and the y-axis. When you check on the x-axis, what you see is the photon has a momentum of p, electron is rest, so 0, and then photon and electron, where we get in this equation. Then we analyze on the y direction, wherein we get the 0 and 0 gives you p dash sine theta minus pe sine phi. So we can write this as this equation. All you have to do now is just square these both equations and add them. So one of the final equations that we get is this. And this is a very important equation, as this equation needs to be substituted. Einstein gave a very famous theory of relativity, according to which he stated the equation E square is equal to c square p square plus m square c raised to 4. Now this is an equation which will be further using in the derivation.
Stop.
Now substituting in the equation of relativity, what we get is this equation, and the final one what we get over here is this. Once you substitute this equation and simplify it, you get this equation, which then gives you this. This equation is a very famous equation, as it's called the Compton scattering formula, which is 1 upon E dash minus 1 upon E is equal to 1 upon mc square 1 minus cos theta, where cos theta is a change in the angle. Compton scattering, if it needs to be written in the form of wavelength, then what we write is lambda dash minus lambda is equal to h upon mc square 1 minus cos theta. As we know that lambda dash minus lambda is the change in the wavelength, so this can also be written as lambda dash is equal to lambda c 1 minus cos theta. This lambda c over here is an important factor, because this is h upon mc square, which is nothing else but the Compton wavelength, and this is one of the main formula due to which there is a lot of change in the wavelength during the scattering of an X-ray or a high frequency photon.
Start.
Now we move on to the experimental demonstration of the Compton effect. What Compton did was he used a source, that is an X-ray source, which falls on a target. This target that you can see over here is nothing but is carbon atoms. Now this target, when the incident photon falls on it, it scatters, and you can see over here there is an arc and there is a detector. This detector is responsible to measure the angle, and you come to know the energy of the high frequency photon. Moving on to the results, Compton plotted a graph of relative intensity versus the lambda, that is wavelength, and the change in the wavelength. What we see from the results is that the first peak, that is the theta is equal to 0, there is only one peak that appears, after which you can see two peaks that keep appearing. The first peak that you can see corresponds to the photon that gets scattered from a tightly bound electron of the atom, and hence we can say that the photon does not lose any energy. However, there is another peak for all the other angles, that is 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 135 degrees, wherein you can see varying wavelengths. This is because of the angle, that is the 1 minus cos theta formula, due to which there is so much of scattering that is taking place. You can see over here the amount of scattered wavelength that is taking place except the first peak. Now, Compton repeated this experiment also with gamma rays and found that no change appeared. This is explicit from equation of 1 minus cos theta, that Compton shift does not depend on incident radiation. Hence we can say that Compton effect is a very strong evidence to prove the particle nature of the particle.